All right, welcome to my very first daily fantasy blog, number one. This first blog kind of laying out what the plan is for the season, goals, general strategies you should do. Here I got the Fanduel training camp page up. The two biggest sites are Fanduel and DraftKings, and I'm glad Fanduel kind of released this training camp for kind of new players because it outlines a lot of the things I want to talk about, and they have good graphics, and they display it in fun, colorful ways. Ooh, look at that red! Look at that! Wait, what the hell's going on here? Is that supposed to be some weird angle of the hands? Is this the hip region? Whoa, he's got some hips there. So anyway, opening day is in about 4 days. So getting pretty excited about that. Before you start playing daily fantasy, the most important thing that you do is learn the rules of the site. FanDuel's rules are different than DraftKings rules. It's different than Yahoo's rules, which is different than Fantasy Draft's rules. Those are probably the four... Not probably, they are the most popular sites. And your entire strategy is going to be tailored around the way the scoring works. So FanDuel's smart to show that also the rosters changed from last year. You used to have one pitcher, one catcher, one first baseman, then second baseman, shortstop, third baseman, and your outfielders. But it was always annoying, and they were smart to do this, that kind of picking, like being forced to even take a catcher was annoying just because, the best catcher is, Buster Posey on the Giants, and then you got, I don't know who's up there, like Grandal's up in the top five. I don't know, but, you are going to be drafting first baseman for sure, like much of the time, unless you just see like a really, really good value play. And then offering this utility is really nice because then you can build a lot more different combinations, and even having two first basemen, it would be really annoying because some players too would only be classified specifically as a first baseman, so you couldn't use them even if they were like an outfielder. It's just weird. It's hard for them to keep all their kind of rosters up to date because they I think just run their algorithm and then they put out the like groups of lineups the night before. So if the lineup changes the next day, once it's released, it's too late. A funny note about that too is like one day last year they priced a player at I think like $300 or something like that, where the min is, man, what the hell is the min? I think maybe 2,000. So it was just like a weird anomaly. And then a lot of the winning lineups had him in it because if you did that, everyone was able to pay up for Kershaw and then kind of, plug whoever you wanted in. It was really cool. So anyway, we got to break down how the scoring works so that way we know how to go about constructing our lineups. And the one thing that doesn't change from site to site is you always need to be paying up for pitcher. Why? They are your most consistent source of points. And why is that? Because how do you score points? Getting strikeouts and inning pitch, right? So right away you can see you're not losing points for hits, hitting players, walking them like I think DraftKings does. So that's not a big deal. So where are your points coming from? Kind of strikeouts and going deep into the game. So this is... like, Kershaw is much more likely to have, 8-9 strikeouts and maybe give up like one run than a Mike Trout is to hit a home run every game, right? Mike Trout has a lot of games where he goes like 0 for 4 or, 0 for 3 in like a walk. And he's going to be expensive, so you'd rather be putting your money on the pitchers. How do they verify that? In case you don't believe me. Did I pass it? Yeah, here we go. The easiest way to score points is in a hurry. Yep. Splurge on the top-end pitcher. So usually the top-end pitchers are going to be kind of over 10K, right? So, and this is good. I mean, that gives you, that 9-point swing is pretty huge. After you play, fantasy for a while, you'll start to notice that, points are are extremely valuable. You know, I've had a few nights where I've lost by like point 0.1, and like missing the cash line, it was painful, especially in the beginning when you just get started. It's like you're tracking the game, you're like, oh, it's gonna happen, and then you see it, and it's just like mother. But it's all good, you know. It's just one game, and you know the thousands that you're gonna play, so you can't you can't linger on it too much. So again, when choosing pitcher, the only thing you're worried about is earned runs, and when you take the Scherzers, the Kershaws, the Darvishes, the best pitchers usually give up solo home runs. That's just a trend, because you know they're good at locating the pitches, mixing it up very well. But occasionally, you know, hitters are going to be on it, and hitting that solo home run's no big deal, right? Because if they strike someone out, boom, right away you don't have to worry about it. Getting the quality start is important too. They added that last year. That means I think you go 5 innings and less than 3 earned runs, which it gives your team a good chance to win. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let's not scroll so quickly. All right, number 2, looking at the hitters. So looking right away, right, a double is worth twice as much as a single, triple home run. Right away, you should notice too that a home run is actually worth more than 12 points, right? Because let's say you get a solo home run, that's 12 plus the run. So that's, you know, 15.2. So home runs are the most valuable by far. Do you get an RBI for a solo home run? Do you get an RBI for a solo home run? This is a good question. Batters credit with an RBI in most cases where the result is play changes the run being scored. There are few exceptions. The most common, however, a player also receives an RBI. Sure. With a hit and a run scored. Yeah, so you also get an RBI, so fuck yeah, okay. Stop cursing. This is gonna be a clean one. So the home run is actually worth 12 plus that's 15.5. 18.7, dude. Like, just like the slow math is hilarious. So 18.7 for a home run. That's the least, right? That's just for a solo home run. So obviously you want players that are gonna hit home runs. Jonathan Bales, I don't have his book right here with me, but I guess I'll link to it in the description. Got to do the classic point too. He talks a lot about when you're stacking teams and players, you want to pick players that are either going to hit your home runs, right, worth that 18.7, or they're going to steal bases, right? So a stolen base is equivalent to a double, right? But also think about the fact that you're getting a stolen base means you have to get on base, right? So you're either going to be hit by a pitch, you're going to be walked, or you're going to single. So a stolen base really is worth 9 points. So that's worth a triple. So that strategy is super, super strong. Problem is relying on stolen bases is a little tricky, right? Because it's difficult. The situation has to be right. Like if you have a lefty on the mound too, the likelihood that they steal successfully is, I think, like 5% less. I can look that up. You know, they're still going to go for it. You know, the pickoff attempts are going to be stronger, but if you do it versus like a righty, you're looking good. So going with that strategy is, I think, a really, really strong starting point. And I just briefly mentioned it, but you want to stack. I mean, the biggest mistake I made in my first year of playing is I thought I was so brilliant and smart that I was like, oh, I'm just going to pick all the players that I think that are going to hit home runs, right? And when you do that, the sport is still volatile. Volatile just meaning that, right, even the best players go 0 for 4 on nights. So trying to pick everyone to hit home run is hard. And if you don't believe me, try it yourself. Like, I'm trying to save you some pain here in doing it. And when you start seeing the lineups that are like winning, and I encourage you to do that in the beginning, or kind of even see the pros, see what the pros do, you're going to notice that they stack, and they stack all the time, because it's just the most like logical thing to do, right? You have that situation where your leadoff batter hits, you know, he hits a single, he gets on base, the second guy walks, okay, now you got first and second, the third guy comes up, hits a home run, now he gets his home run, his 12 points, he gets 3 RBIs, 1 for him, the guy on second, the guy on first, and he gets the run for him, the run for the second, run for third. So that's like an insane amount of points versus if you just had that, you know, third batter, you're going to be getting, whatever that amount is, but you're missing out on the other. So you want the teams that feed into each other, and it's the best strategy. And if you don't believe me, I recommend you try. If you learn by kind of doing and making the mistake, that's good because you'll learn. But if you just want to take my advice and see how it goes, trust me, it's better that way. Let's see, what else do they talk about? So I mean, that's good basics. And baseball is really not that complicated. I once read a great Reddit comment that said, like, what advice do you have for the season? And the person just said, quote, stack and pray, end quote. I mean, it's sort of what it comes down to, but you'll start to notice the finer things, like stacking, like 1, 2, 3, 4 is better than a 1, 2, 4, like 6. You'll get kind of credit. Like it's still, kind of technically a stack, but it's not ideal. You want them coming up after each other, and don't go too crazy with like all this handedness stuff. Like, lefty batters are better against, righty pitchers, but don't just try to pick every lefty in the lineup. I made that mistake like a lot, and I learned the hard way. So I'm trying to kind of teach you guys and give you advice on how to like avoid these mistakes I made. The final thing here they talk about it. I actually should like show the numbers. So just using that one player gives you their average score was that. So even doing a mini stack is better, 3, 4. So I think it's best. I mean, they don't really talk about this, but doing 2 4-player stacks, right, and then just your pitcher. But it's hard, because the salary allocations are tough. Like if you think about a team like the Yankees, I mean, how expensive do you think it's going to be to do like the top 4 batter stack for them? It's going to be a lot because there's so much. They're so hyped. There's so much home run power. It's crazy. I mean, my strategy, or I mean, just a general thought is that stacking like 4, 5, 6, 7 for them is still going to be good because their lineup is loaded. Yeah. Also, park factors are kind of the final thing. Like the Rockies are the best park. It's not like an opinion thing. It's a simple fact. The simple physics behind it is, at elevation, you have less. So they're high up. Higher up means you have kind of less air molecules, right? So when the ball is flying through the air, instead of having all these molecules that are blocking it, increasing its friction, right, it has less resistance, so it's going to fly further. So going along with that, like if it's humid, right, having the water there, the water reduces the friction, right? Think about your car. Your car grips the road like super, super well when it's dry, but when it rains a little bit, right, you hydroplane, right? You can slide easily. So the ball can slide easier through the air. That's probably not the best example, but we're going for it. So understanding that, they're the best. I didn't think Astros Park was that bad, but yeah, you can look up what won the road. Yeah, see that there's a big discrepancy, right? Because when Colorado goes away from home, they're not nearly as good. But Fangraphs is your best friend too. I was just reading a cool article about Syndergaard. They call him a thrower, not a pitcher, and that's something cool that I just learned, that he had the tendency to throw his fastball sort of down the middle, but here he finally starts locating on the inside. And they say when you throw your kind of pitches to the inside, they show this cool picture, right? The ball is coming in here, so the batter has to swing earlier, right? So there's a little bit more guesswork, and also if he doesn't swing early, right? If the ball's here and he starts swinging, he's going to hit the weaker part of the bat with it, which is going to lead to weaker contact, potential, foul balls. And if he doesn't swing this early, right, he's not going to make that solid contact, and that's what we see here, right? He goes into the middle. He kind of breaks his bat, right? There's so much force on that ball. He plays it, and like, dude, the dude didn't even try. He was like, doot. Look, it's just hilarious to me how batters like come out of the box and they're just like kind of chilling. Like, wow, dude, that guy had such a long way to go. He's like, yeah, F it. So definitely, yeah. Watch some of these gifs, right? He's throwing it belt high. I should have probably showed this first. So they're showing how a lot of his fastballs, right? He's just throwing them, right? He's not commanding his fastball. You're throwing it belt high down the middle. Okay, that's for lefties and even for righties. That's not where you want to be locating, dude. And they also talk about how everyone's becoming more of a fly ball hitter, right? So they're getting under the ball, so they're good at hitting low balls too. I mean, the exception kind of is sinker. It's just the way it spins, but when the fastballs are that low, they're going to scoop it up and it's going to be gone. Escape. Escape. Nope. So they just show clips of it. You know, you're verifying. Boom. Belt high down the middle. You know, if you just swing and make contact, there it is. Again, he locates horribly. And I mean, these are just singles, but he's still giving up hits. You know, looks exact same thing. Boom. Damn, that's like right down the middle. Oof. Man, he smashes that. So, pretty cool. But yeah, Fangraphs is going to be your best friend. So I wanted to make this short, not too long, but fantasy baseball is a lot of fun. You know, it makes watching games a little bit more exciting. Baseball is such a complex sport too. There's so much to learn about every aspect of the sport, right? Just like I never played baseball, so I didn't know about, you know, this simple concept, but it's a good one. That's why pitching inside too. And it's also scary for the batter too when the fastballs are coming in, right? Noah Syndergaard throws, what, 99? Man, does he touch 100? Damn, imagine when that ball gets close to you, man. Oof. He's not even wearing a helmet, right? This is the hat, jeez. All right, anyway, good luck, and I'll be back. Boo!